Yo everyone! Guild Wars Reforged just dropped on mobile. For those that don't know, Guild Wars 1 originally released back in 2005. Absolutely ancient game. And Reforged is the modernization update that came out in 2025. A few days ago, it was ported to mobile with a free-to-start model. Guild Wars 1 is a beloved experience, but this is still an old-ass game being played on modern devices. So I want to answer 3 questions. Who is this for? Does it actually hold up in the modern era? And is it appropriate for mobile? And was it a good experience? I'll take you through my experience to help answer all 3. I think one of the obvious targets of this mobile port and this free-to-play model are Guild Wars 2 players and anyone excited for Guild Wars 3, looking to brush up on their Guild Wars lore. Guild Wars 3 was confirmed to be releasing on PlayStation 5 alongside PC, so the franchise is suddenly going to become a lot more accessible. Its setting takes place 1,000 years before Guild Wars 1. So if you want to have a better understanding of the upcoming release, this is your ticket into a beloved world and a cult classic of a game. For any Guild Wars 2 player like me, who has heard rumours of how much fun the original Guild Wars is, this is a perfect time to try out the game for free and see if you like it. If you're into MMOs, you're willing to play mobile games but have been left disappointed by the exploitative design of traditional mobile MMOs, this won't disappoint you, providing you have friends to play with. And lastly, if you and a friend group are looking for something to play without demanding hardware, even if you have zero prior knowledge of the Guild Wars franchise, this is for you guys too. Let's talk about who this isn't for, in my opinion. Oh, you're playing solo and you're looking for a free-to-play MMO? You've heard that Guild Wars is a beloved franchise, so you download the game with stars in your eyes and hop in expecting an MMO experience. Well, hold your horses. Maybe this isn't for you. If you're a solo player looking for a fun game and maybe hoping to make friends, join a guild and form a new reason to be addicted to your phone, you probably aren't going to get any of what you're expecting unless you pay up. Due to this new free-to-play model and due to how the game was designed, Guild Wars isn't quite like other MMOs. The only areas that will meet your MMO expectations are the towns. Here, you can see and interact with all the other players playing, and get up to your usual MMO shenanigans. As soon as you leave the town, however, you enter an instance that is devoid of other players except your party members. And as a free-to-play player, your account is under some heavy restrictions. Free-to-play mobile accounts can't chat in public channels. They can't trade items or use storage. They can't invite other players to their party. They can't PvP, and they will be expected to watch ads in loading screens, although I had yet to experience that. With these kind of restrictions on a free-to-play account, you aren't going to be able to join in the community as you expected. However, if you don't mind playing alone and you're looking for a solid game, this is an immense offer. And I'd say the same if you're looking to play with a friend or a group. If you fall under those circumstances, this is an insane value proposition. However, I feel like there will be a lot of players who now have access to a free game, expect it to be an MMO, and get sorely disappointed when they realize the restrictions that come with being a free player. You aren't going to see other players running around when you're questing, nor are you going to be able to take part in regular MMO activities until you pay up. So, how much does it cost? $6.99 per expansion, and there are quite a few. For anyone who doesn't know, this is how all Guild Wars works across the board, and I think it's pretty fair. I, however, cannot say the same about the other items in the store. $5.99 for a freaking name change is absolute robbery, and I understand as a mobile port they need to make money, But that pricing, along with the free-to-play restrictions, make this quite a hostile environment for a brand new player strolling into this franchise. I do think they should make some adjustments so that a completely blind player doesn't immediately bounce off what I describe as a good franchise. Let's briefly talk about performance and accessibility. Controller support and keyboard and mouse work flawlessly if you don't like the touch controls. The game plays intuitively and has a great UI to inform you of your skills. As for performance, I did have trouble initially with getting started. I felt like the UI was poorly sized by default, buttons were glitching, logging in kept failing, the back button to back out of a menu didn't work, and once I was in the game, I couldn't open the settings to adjust for performance. But very quickly, after a few hours, they rolled out an update which pretty much fixed all of that. I am running the game on quite an old Android tablet, but once I adjusted the settings to around medium, I had pretty smooth gameplay. With all of that out of the way, I'll let you in on my feelings about my gameplay experience so far. But first, if you are enjoying the video, hit like and subscribe for me, eh? As an atom-sized YouTuber, I would appreciate it more than anything. Why am I using this accent? Because despite my demure personality, I'm a little bit of a nut job, see? So, hit like and subscribe for your boy. Sorry, that was my... When this game was announced, I was pretty excited because the accessibility of mobile games lets my wife play with me without a hassle, especially when games have cross-play with PC, like Once Human for example. We honestly had a great time playing that via crossplay, and I feel like crossplay with mobile opens us up to games that otherwise we wouldn't bother to play together as often. If my wife has to get out a keyboard and mouse or set up a device, she is way less likely to want to play than if she can just pull out her phone and join the game. Or sometimes we want to have very short play sessions, and the setup sometimes doesn't justify the amount of time we're actually going to play for. Mobile allows us to hop in and hop out without a second thought, so I really appreciate this mobile port. When starting the game, we create our character out of some fairly rudimentary options, to be kind. I gotta say, a lot of the default hairstyles are absolutely hideous. We can only choose a role-playing character, we are unable to choose a PvP character or go to the PvP associated areas of the game. We have 6 classes to choose from: Warrior, Ranger, Monk, Necromancer, Mesmer, and Elementalist. The Assassin, Ritualist, Dervish, and Paragon can be acquired by purchasing the associated campaigns. Each of these classes can be combined, allowing you to have a primary and secondary class that lets you mix and match the skills from both professions. This class system is what makes the game so beloved, as you truly get to play your character how you want, and you get to feel unique in your choices. It also gives the game a high amount of replayability, and you are encouraged to make and play multiple characters in the Guild Wars franchise. I chose Necromancer, and immediately I hit an audio glitch that soon resolved itself, and to be honest, it may have been my fault. I have come across a few glitches, but they got updated so fast that I trust that most of them will be gone in the coming weeks. Zooming past the story for the purposes of this video, because I want you to see what the game actually entails during this free-to-play period for anyone that hasn't played Guild Wars before. Immediately, what stands out to me is the questing. If you have played a mobile-based MMO before, you're going to be expecting to be told the exact pinpoint location of where to go. Heck, you might even expect to be able to auto-path your way there. There are no arrows on the ground or click the location to automatically run there. You may expect that all the NPCs beg for your attention and constantly usher you where to go and what to do, but Guild Wars does none of that. Yes, for a game that was made in 2005, there are the classic neon green, yellow, or red exclamation marks hovering over an NPC's head, letting you know that they want to talk to you. However, the best way that I can describe this experience as a new player is, if you don't ask, then you don't get. Heck, when I first started on a separate character, I missed the tutorial because I didn't notice the exclamation mark over the NPC's head, so I just didn't get a tutorial. Absolute newbies won't appreciate this, but the players who are dabbling in their second or third character are singing this feature's praises because it allows them to not get bogged down in activities that they don't want to do or tutorials that they've already taken. It's a double-edged sword. On one hand, this just isn't very welcoming, especially when we consider the free-to-play restrictions. It can feel a bit like, God damn, even the NPCs don't want to talk to me in this game, because they aren't begging for your attention like you'd expect. As for the quests are what you'd expect, but the result isn't. Let me explain. Usually, you would take on a quest, let's say, deliver a letter to an NPC. The quest itself would give you a hefty amount of XP, and usually following the first few quests will glide you over your first few levels. However, in Guild Wars Reforged, when an NPC tells you to go find someone, it's usually not just a few steps away. In my experience, I had to travel quite a distance, and the experience I went through felt as if the game expected me not to just beeline for the quest marker, but also stop along the way and interact with the environment. Kill the monsters in your way, as opposed to ignoring everything outside of your objective. Put simply, Guild Wars Reforged highly rewards curiosity. If what you're expecting from this MMO is follow the instructions and coast through the levels, this is just not that experience. From my first few hours, I learned to be curious about what NPCs have to offer and not just follow the first trail that you're given. But instead, start thinking about what quest sounds exciting to you. Kill monsters that are in the way, rather than hoping that they will forget about you if you keep running. The map points you in the direction of your selected quest, but it does not steer for you around obstacles. If this part of your brain is totally fried from the other brain rot MMOs out there, this will feel frustrating. But once you realize what kind of experience the game is going for, you really start taking in the environment. Which path leads to where? What obstacles are in the way? What enemies are a pain in the ass for you and you need to dispatch of before you keep going? You start to feel immersed, and the frustration that you had previously starts to melt into curiosity, and then it all became very intuitive. I realized, these aren't trash mobs here to fill up the environment. These are resources, and some NPC out there wants whatever these monsters drop. And I personally need the experience because it's not being spoon-fed to me. So the only way to level up is to engage with the environment. You stop feeling frustrated and you start surviving, I guess. At least that's how it went for me. And the combat leans into that. The combat runs on an energy system, and there is an emphasis on timing. Some skills have long cast times, some use a ton of energy. Combat is a balancing act of resource management. Skills do not just appear in your bar from leveling up. Instead, you seek out knowledge from the masters of your combat profession and fulfill their tasks. For example, as a necromancer, I was sent into the catacombs to kill an abomination summoned by my master's previous student. She tells us if we fail, she will use our corpse as fodder for the next more worthy student, which is metal as fuck. Due to all the design choices I talked about earlier, I spent a long time fumbling around the catacombs, dying, getting lost, the works. But to me, that's what the experience is about. That's a place that I remember forever now, and this is what an MMO should be. These places that we're living in, we should have experiences in them, and not just skim over them on autopilot. Once I let my guard down from the hostile restrictions put on free players, and how lonely it can feel compared to what I was expecting, and drop my assumptions of what systems a mobile MMO should have, I then became able to see that this is a fantastic experience to be had here, and I'm so happy that ArenaNet put the effort in to revive this old gem. Although I didn't get very far yet, I am starting to see the brilliance of this game, and I can't wait to dive in deeper in the future and get hyped for Guild Wars 3 in 2027. If you enjoyed this video or it was helpful to you, hit subscribe for me, yeah? As that will help me out a ton. These videos take a little while for me to make, especially since I'm on a Steam Deck. Sometimes navigating that can be pretty funky. I'm gonna be making videos regardless, but subscribing will start to help me to push towards better production value for you guys. Happy gaming, and peace, 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 peace.